Tonight on Cronkite News, an altercation at the airport has the Mercury rethinking how they travel.
And Sedona is known as a great place to beat the valley heat. But Sedona is actually getting hotter, and now some scientists want to know why.
Plus, we take a look at the challenges many teenagers are facing when it comes to finding that summer job.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Andrew Lind.
And I'm Alexis Davis. Thank you for joining us.
After Brittney Griner was harassed at the airport in Dallas last weekend, there have been renewed calls for the WNBA to enhance travel policies that have been long criticized by the players.
Our Crystal Stone is live in the newsroom and explains how the Mercury are leading the charge.
That's right, Alexis. You may have seen the video all over social media of Brittney Griner being confronted by a YouTube personality at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Now, the Mercury said they are considering travel adjustments, but the incident has reignited calls from players to change the policy league-wide.
We're pretty mad about it. We're pretty upset for BG.
After Brittney Griner was harassed at the airport, players are speaking out and calling for change to the WNBA's policy on private travel. The league has had a long-standing policy of forbidding the use of chartered travel in an effort to maintain competitive balance. Although chartered flights are allowed for back-to-back games for the 2023 regular season, players say it's not enough.
Us as women in the WNBA, we do so much to try to help with different cultures, with different types of people, with different charities, yet they're not willing to protect their product, and that's embarrassing.
According to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, it will cost about $25 million to provide charter flights for every team in the league for the entire season. Now, the conversation had been around comfort and convenience for the players, but after the incident with Griner, it's quickly shifting to include security. In a statement following Saturday's incident, the WNBA said in part that they've worked together with the Phoenix Mercury and BG's team to ensure her safety during her travel, which included charter flights for WNBA games and assigned security personnel with her at all times. It's unclear why the Mercury didn't use a charter flight for this latest road trip, but Mercury president Vince Kozar says protecting the players is a priority.
Nothing's more important to us than player health and well-being, and that of course includes their safety. So everything within our power to keep our players safe is being done and will continue to be done.
Cunningham stressed improving travel conditions would mutually benefit players and the league as a whole.
If you want a good product, if you want good games out on the court, then help us travel a little bit better.
The Mercury haven't disclosed what adjustments they'll make, but any changes to their travel plan could happen before the end of this week as the team heads back on the road to face the Washington Mystics in D.C. on Friday. In the newsroom, Crystal Stone, Cronkite News.
Meanwhile, the Mercury played last night at the Footprint Center, but struggled on the court as they lost to the Storm, and Brittney Griner left with a hip injury.
But there was a bright spot for the Mercury and their fans as the team celebrated Black Excellence Night. Joining us now is Cronkite reporter Adrian Carvajal, who was at last night's game. Adrian?
It was a tremendous atmosphere at the Footprint Center last night with over 7,000 fans in attendance as the team recognized groups and individuals who have positively impacted the Black community. The Mercury highlighted multiple Black artists and figures throughout the game. Local artist Stephanie Downing had a special pregame performance of Lift Every Voice and Sing, while Charles Kendrick, founder of the first African Heritage Museum in Tucson, was also honored during the game. The organization and players emphasized the importance of having nights just like these.
It means a lot. Just to play on this night is special. So I'm really thankful that that the Mercury and Phoenix, they celebrate this night. So I'm just thankful to be in this moment with my teammates, with our coaching staffs.
We as an organization understand that we have a responsibility to the community, and part of that responsibility is providing visibility and representation to historically marginalized groups. There are a lot of organizations doing the work locally that our fans may not know about. And the third piece is celebration. There's a lot of culture and there's a lot of column wins to be celebrated within all of these groups, and tonight is all about Black excellence.
So a great atmosphere last night, but on the court, the team will need to regroup from their slow start to the season as they are just 2-6 in their first 8 games. In the newsroom, Adrian Carvajal, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Cardinals wrap up mandatory minicamp tomorrow, and there are still plenty of questions for new coach Jonathan Gannon to answer. The main question will be who Kyler Murray's go-to receiver will be after the team released DeAndre Hopkins in late May. Without Hopkins in the mix, Marquise Hollywood Brown is hoping to be Murray's #1 target. Also in the mix is Rondale Moore, who's been injury-plagued so far in his young career. Both players are excited about the opportunity to prove themselves and show what the current wide receiver core can do.
Being that leader in the room, being that guy to lead by example, something I take pride in, something, I'm looking forward to doing.
A little different, but we got some guys that can really play in there, super smart, been around for a little bit. Obviously, we got some younger guys, too, with Mike, who we just drafted, who's a tremendous player. Love his work ethic, comes in, asks questions, certain things like that. So it's been cool to work with both sides.
Now to the economy. Finding a job can be hard, but it's becoming even harder for Arizona's youth this summer. With the summer season in full swing, many teenagers are facing significant challenges when it comes to finding employment. Bree Pacelli dives into what teens in Arizona can do to keep themselves busy if they are having trouble looking for a summer job.
With school out for the summer, many teenagers across Arizona are eagerly seeking job opportunities to gain work experience and earn extra income. However, a competitive job market has left teens frustrated and struggling to find employment. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate for teens between the ages of 16 and 19 is 10.3%. But economics professor Gustavo Ventura from Arizona State University says teenage unemployment rates can be high.
I mean, the national one is less than 4%. The teenage one is, as I said, is about 10%. So it's a big time difference. Youth unemployment rates are or tend to be higher because, younger people are first entering the job market. They're switching jobs. When they're switching jobs, they count as an unemployed if they're looking for a job.
Teenagers in Arizona have had difficulty finding employment over the summer, but organizations such as Helping Hands offer plenty of volunteer opportunities for them.
Have an influx of teens during the summer because we have amazing high school programs around the state that ask their high school student to complete work.
Teens like Noah Granoff have decided to volunteer their time this summer to help others.
I help the foster families. They come in and they shop around, and I help them check out their items, and I also help them put their items in their car.
Although the unemployment rate for teens will go down once school is back in session, teens can spend their time this summer volunteering and helping others. In Phoenix, Bree Pacelli, Cronkite News.
It's getting hot out, which means a lot of us will be taking a dip in the pool. But even though it may seem like a great way to cool off, you do need to be careful to keep yourself safe. Find out how next.
And Father's Day is almost here. And how hot is it gonna get? Stay tuned for the forecast next.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News. Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Now on Passport. What are you looking for in your life?
There's an important story that needs to be told.
Is it a sense of your own destiny?
Choose your story.
Try to help create change in some way.
It's a beautiful thing. Not very many people get to see.
Once you come into the neighborhood, you are a part of the family.
You can be a good person or a bad person. It's your choice.
Stop complaining and go actually do something.
Now you can stream even more documentaries with Passport on the PBS Video app.
As summer is beginning and pools are opening, the heat is rising.
Cronkite reporter Aaron Patterson is at MoMA Plummer Aquatic Center with a closer look into how swimmers can stay safe as the temperature hits triple digits.
Andrew, when I think of the summer, I think of going in the pool. And while it's nice to sit in the water and cool off, there are still several precautions you need to take. I got the chance to sit down with two people close to ASU who gave me their insight. For many ASU swimmers, the weather in Arizona is an added bonus when committing to the Sun Devils.
I'm looking out the window and it's just beautiful out there, and we do get a lot of swimmers who are excited to swim outdoors.
However, when the summer months come around, the heat can be dangerous, especially to people new to the area.
So if you're not used to this extreme heat, maybe it's your first summer here, then probably it's best to take it down a notch and make sure that you get really well acclimated before you push your limits again.
Research done by ASU Assistant Professor Flores Wardenar shows over time, new residents of Arizona are able to adapt to the summer weather.
The response of most people is when it's getting warmer to stay inside and move by car. I always try to urge people, especially at the start of the season, try to go outside a little bit more so that your body can use to the heat.
Along with adapting to the weather, hydration is a key factor, but it's not just about drinking water. When someone sweats, they are also losing sodium and electrolytes. Pools are often viewed as a way to cool off, but people can still lose fluids while in the water.
You still sweat in the pool. And so understanding that dehydration can happen at 6 a.m. when you've got a little even shiver in the water, you're still sweating.
And athletes aren't the only ones who should be concerned as summertime rolls around.
It gets hot here in the summer, and even if someone's not a competitive swimmer, they might just be out exercising on their own or having their kids play outside. And so I think this is a really good thing to talk about, especially in our temperatures we have here.
If you're outside or in the pool and you experience dizziness, dry mouth, fatigue, or headaches, you may be suffering from dehydration. So make sure you proceed with caution. In Tempe, Aaron Patterson, Cronkite News.
Well, it's going to be plenty warm this weekend if you want to take a dip in the pool.
Enrique Rupert joins us now with what we can expect.
So as we approach the start of summer, the drop in temperatures at night is going to become less and less. Tonight it's going to be 93 degrees at 8 p.m. and it's only going to be a 5-degree drop at 10 p.m. as it's going to be 88 degrees. As for our futurecast, the northern side of the state is going to experience some activity, with Flagstaff, Sedona, Grand Canyon, and Kingman all experiencing light to moderate showers, but this should subside by Thursday morning, and by Thursday evening it's going to have a lot of cloud cover over Arizona. As for our low temperatures, Phoenix is going to experience 75 degrees, which is pretty standard and moderate for this time of year. As for our highs, the entire southwestern part of the state is going to be mostly in triple digits, with Phoenix experiencing a whopping 101 degrees. And if you're thinking about the air quality, we are still under ozone high pollution advisory, which means that those sensitive groups such as those with asthma, allergies, the young children and the elderly should all take precaution, especially if doing outdoor activities. For our 8-day forecast, it's only going to get hotter and hotter from here on out. As this Sunday, we're going to experience the highest recorded temperature for June thus far, 107 degrees. So if you're doing anything outdoors, it's key to stay protected. Wear sunscreen, wear sunglasses, and even stay hydrated. Just make sure and stay protected and be safe. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Enrique Rupert.
Many of us think of the city of Sedona as a great place to beat the heat during the summer, but Sedona is actually getting warmer.
And as Yuri Hahn explains, scientists want to understand why Sedona is turning into a hotspot.
We are still in the very early stages of this urban heat island mapping program. We just met with the cities for the first time recently.
Morgan Szabo is the Heat and Health Informations Coordinator with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or otherwise known as NOAA. She says Sedona will look at 3 main areas in their heat study: the impact on the older population and tourists who aren't acclimated to the temperatures. They will also study areas of the city that experience more heat than others.
I think it's helpful to identify those pockets, and I'm sure we're going to find pockets that are a little bit warmer.
Sedona is one of 18 communities chosen to be part of the Urban Heat Island program, largely because their population is older, with an average age of 60 and a large number of tourists.
While there's just under 10,000 people living in this city, it can have many tourists, upwards of 50,000 people coming into the city. And a lot of time when tourists come in, they're not acclimated to the climate, to the temperatures.
According to NOAA, Sedona is projected to have 118 days above 90 degrees a year by 2050. Compare that to the years between 1976 and 2005, when the city only had 74 days annually above 90 degrees. On the predicted hottest day during the summer in Sedona, a team of scientists and 40 local volunteers will travel 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, through neighborhoods with heat sensors mounted on their cars and bikes. These sensors will track temperature, humidity, time, and location every second.
Well, I think what is important to do is to find the locations where members of the community can be vulnerable. And by mapping and bringing in the residents, the citizen scientists, to understand heat in their community better, I think that's helpful for everyone.
The data will be compiled and published in a report. Then each city will look for ways to implement cooling solutions in the community.
And then we can work toward mitigating some of those pockets of heat, and planting shade trees, other ways to try and mitigate some of that heat in that location.
Yuri Han, Cronkite News.
Summertime, of course, means summer camp for many kids out there.
But spending time in the great outdoors isn't easy for some kids suffering with asthma. After the break, we'll pay a visit to the Arizona summer camp specifically for these kids so that they can enjoy their summer just like everyone else.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News. Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Now on Passport.
What are you looking for in your life?
There's an important story that needs to be told.
Is it a sense of your own destiny?
Choose your story.
Try to help create change in some way.
It's a beautiful thing. Not very many people get to see.
Once you come into the neighborhood, you are a part of the family.
You can be a good person or a bad person, it's your choice.
Stop complaining and go actually do something.
Now you can stream even more documentaries with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Over 174,000 kids in Arizona are currently living with some degree of asthma, which can make outdoor activities difficult. But as reporter Ariana Ariza tells us, there's one summer camp up north that gives these kids a chance to do things like ride a horse or swim in a lake, all while keeping an eye on their health.
The sounds of summer camp can be heard in the fields of Heber, Arizona. But this summer camp is a special week for some kids. In addition to water slides, Camp Nottowese has arts and crafts to even animal interactions for kids living with mild to severe asthma. Most of these kids can't attend traditional summer camps due to their chronic condition. But here, medical volunteers are at hand 24/7.
We have a whole bunch that come to camp and that are passionate and want to make sure that these kiddos get to be able to do anything and everything.
Ashley Feary is the vice president of the camp. She says this camp is an important opportunity to show kids what they are capable of, despite their asthma.
We get to have them in environments. We put them on horseback riding. All these things that are triggers to these guys, we're able to control that, and parents feel that they're safe.
For 5 days, kids ages 7 through 14 live in an environment full of asthma triggers. There are swirling winds of pollen and allergens like animal fur that help kids identify what kickstarts their asthma while learning ways to control it.
Or opens up your airways, okay, reverses the constriction that you have.
Every day, campers attend Asthma Discovery, a 1-hour session full of activities, demonstrations, and education about asthma. Campers are sent home with demonstrations, comic books, information, exchange cards, and these 2 stickers right here to be put on the back of their inhaler to show if it's a quick relief or a controller.
They're also going to have an opportunity to learn how to take their medications. Children these days don't get trained on how to take medication. We need to be using spacers, valve holding chambers. That way we can make sure the medication gets deposited correctly.
According to a report from the American Lung Association, 10.9% of Arizona youths suffer from asthma, a rate that is higher than the 9.2 national rate. Alan Crawford is the president and camp director. He says Arizona's air quality is a big asthma trigger.
Things like particulates in the air are important because people with asthma are going to have a harder time. There's an increased risk of an exacerbation because of that trigger. We all want to breathe clean and healthy air, but the fact is we live in a state where our air is not healthy.
Dr. Cindy Bauer is the medical director of Camp Nottowese, and she says kids living in lower income and rural areas often have more exposure to dirt roads, dusty air, and other asthma triggers.
Those homes are definitely going to have more environmental exposures and irritants that can cause asthma symptoms and flares. And that's a tough one because it's culture. It's part of the way those families live and the access they have.
The camp provides scholarships for 98% of the campers this year, covering the original cost of $650. Camp Nottowese reports 89% of kids feeling more confident in identifying their triggers after attending the camp, saving an average of $2,000 in medical costs a year.
Most of our campers are from areas of need, and that's intentional. Those are the children that wouldn't have otherwise had this opportunity and often don't have that access to specialists and the care that we can give them here.
Bauer says the camp can be life-changing for kids.
So that's the way to remember.
By giving them power over their asthma, knowledge to take back home, and memories they'll never forget. In Heber, Arizona, Ariana Ariza, Cronkite News.
A therapy and service dog who goes above and beyond now has a degree in medicine. Coming up, find out how this service dog received a doctorate of medicine from the University of Maryland, Baltimore.
We tell ourselves stories as a nation.
These stories need to be highlighted. They need to be explored.
We're the dreamers.
How serious is America's commitment to looking at its history? How can we learn from the past?
Douglas said, "You're going to look me in the eye and see my humanity."
It's illuminating. I'm seeing the expansiveness of my history.
It's pretty great.
There's so much richness to Black life and Black culture.
I think the story of Muslims in America is the story of America.
Tonight, they are free.
I cannot imagine how excited he must have been.
It's a wonderful feeling. This is why we do this.
It makes me even more committed to struggling for a better world.
Welcome. How utterly charming. Are you ready to get it going? How does an English fan come to be Italian Riviera?
A fresh start.
Can I trust you? Are you ready for the show? You can't be afraid to show them what you've got, what you want.
Are we having a party?
Of course, the more the merrier.
I love this place. It's my home now. Trouble in paradise. I can't do it on my own.
This is revenge.
There are consequences.
Be careful. Nothing like this. Nothing like this. Oh. You look like you need rescuing.
Don't we all?
What is it that you want? I just want to let go. I choose how I live.
There is the passion that I've been looking for.
Five-year-old Rottweiler Loki is now officially a doctor.
After going above and beyond, Loki received her honorary degree.
By the side of her handler, Dr. Caroline Benzel, the service-trained therapy dog, received her doctorate of medicine from the University of Maryland, Baltimore. After being adopted the same week Dr. Benzel was accepted into medical school, Loki started her service dog journey with a goal of becoming a therapy dog for the hospital. Loki learned to comfort patients in the hospital while her owner attended school.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.